Hello and welcome to another Fresh Off the Stalls. Whereas the last one was brought to you by a shot of gin, this one is brought to you with a fresh mug of hot Lemsip. I'm not feeling particularly great. I wasn't going to do this video because my voice is quite sore and a little bit squeaky to the point that sometimes it sounds almost a bit too comedy. But just after tonight, just thought, I'm going to do it because I just feel like I want to say something about this. I'm going to tell you now, what I'm about to say is probably not going to be very coherent. Just trying to do it. Anyway, Radiant Vermin, Philip Ridley's new play. I'm a big fan of Philip Ridley. I love how dark and poetic he can be, but also so surprising. You've got everything from the really depraved in things like Pitchfork Disney and Mercury Fur to the devastatingly heartbreaking and things like Tender Napalm. So with Ridley, you're never quite sure what you're going to get, but you always know that it's going to be a little bit twisted. And this is something that isn't much different. So we're told it's a comedy looking at a bit about the housing crisis, so it's a bit current, and it's interesting to see what he does with comedy. And I must say, well, first of all, it's funny. I think that's what you want most out of a comedy. You want something funny. This made me laugh a lot. I love the knowing little pokes at the ridiculousness of sort of middle class and mild-manneredness. It's got some wonderful little things, observational things in there as well that just are really funny. Playing off against the absolutely bizarre but wonderful situation that he has fought up. So the whole point of Radiant Vermin is that we, on stage, we have a couple who have ended up in their dream home for their little baby bach, which is Welsh for small baby, with a little baby bach, and they want to tell you about how they ended up getting their dream home, because they've done some not very nice things in order to get it. I suppose the whole point is kind of like for them to tell you their story and ask you, would you have done the same? So there's a sort of splattering of, well, not so much a splattering. The whole thing is all about sort of the supernatural stuff. I don't want to give too much away because I think it's really great just to go in with this, not really knowing what to expect, and then just going along for the ride without any preconceptions, any assumptions on what it's actually about. And so you got these. So the brilliant comedy is you got this utterly outlandish and outrageous and incredibly imaginative situation that this couple are in, and just coming out with these wonderful sort of very middle class idioms and quips and things. It's marvelous. How it's presented, I think, is also really key to the whole thing. It's like CBBC, gone a bit fetid. It's gone. That's the only thing I can think of to describe it. It's like children's telly or children's theatre, I suppose. Very much sort of very exuberant side. Also almost a bit patronising, but very energetic, very silly. But dealing with actually really dark themes, really adult themes, and I don't mean anything overtly sexual, but sort of like very grown up, I probably should say, rather than adult. And it's just. It's a wonderful juxtaposition. Philip Ridley always writes with a sort of almost childlike lilt to everything, almost everything he does actually. And it's no surprise, therefore, that he writes children's book. Although I hope he keeps it a little lighter for his children's books than he does with these things. But it's brilliant. So you got wonderful bits where it's absolutely nuts, very energetic. Very funny, but then at the same time you got these wonderful moments where it's really probing, really troubling, and really twisted, especially with the things that this couple need to do and continue to do in order to get their home. And it probes a lot into how we think of the situation as well, and it kind of like it's quite impactful in that way that you have this wonderful sort of stupid, hilarious, and I don't mean stupid as in lacking intelligence, I mean stupid as in just balmy thing going on, and then you got these moments just like you really have to you're put in a place as an audience to really think about your perception of the world and the issues it's dealing with. Have them challenged, have them subverted, have them flipped, and there's some moments then where it's kind of like this is quite hard going. And I described it in my tweet as a knockabout. It really is. You go from happy, jolly, what on earth is going on, ha 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 ha, to like, no, this is dark. It's brilliant. There's also wonderful little nuances in Philip's writing. The fact that it kind of uses sort of very sort of childlike storytelling sort of medium to build tension. There's one bit where the character is going like, I'm at the top of the stairs. I am walking down the stairs. I am at the bottom of the stairs. A bit more dramatically and better timed than that was. And you just think it's what's going on here, but like there's other points where they do that again. It really draws a sort of really odd tension in moments where tension is really needed. I love the writing. I'm going to. I think the difficult thing is for when I come to my written review is not to just go off on this sort of rambling, overjoyous babbling about Philip Ridley's writing. We've gotten to the point with Ridley's canon of work that you could base a PhD on his stuff. He is a wonderfully important writer, and this is something again that has demonstrated his ability, his imagination, his technique, but at the same time is still surprising us. He's not done another Pitchfork, he's not done another Tender Napalm. This is something that is original but still very much him, and you know he's constantly developing as a writer, in my opinion, and but never losing any of its glimmer. Now to actually talk about the production, I think it's sorry, squeaky voice. This is probably the one thing that I'm going to find most difficult to write on because, although maybe not, maybe I'm just trying to overanalyze it. So it's done by, I can't remember the name of the production company. I know that that's it here, Metal Rabbit and Supporting Wall. So Metal Rabbit also currently doing Lardo on at the Old Red Lion. The production for that is very colourful, very exuberant. For this, you've got a white stage and some hanging white flats and some fluorescent light tubes. That's it. That's it for the entire thing. Almost. But pretty much. It's weird in the sense that you'd expect something more, but it's very stark. I suppose it kind of like, oh look, blank canvas. We're symbolising something. Blank canvas, right? But the thing is, it made people say, "Well, there's nothing going on. Why even bother with production?" But it doesn't need anything else. You got some brilliant actors involved and some really good direction on board, and some good bits of lighting at points as well that add. There's moments where there's just a bit of colour added, and against the white, it's really stark. And those moments happen not hardly at all, but when they do, they're quite. They make an impact. But other than that, it doesn't need it. Everything is told through the actions, the abilities, the energy of the cast and the direction itself. So I don't think it's anywhere near lackadaisical. I think it's a very purposeful decision to say no. We don't need anything. We don't need props. We don't need anything elaborate for this. We just need the actors and the set. And I know with the stuff I've been doing covering things like the Bare Essentials series that Encompass Productions, that's all you ever really need in theatre, especially if you want to focus on the writing. So I'm not going to moan about the set. I think it's actually really well done for this piece, despite the fact it's very, very bare. And I said there's one of the bits of lighting where they build in a bit of colour, sometimes slowly, and it looks great, and it just brings an extra bit out where it's needed, but everywhere else, everything that is already essential to the show is already there. Speaking of which, the cast, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Got Gemma Whelan as Jill, Sean Michael Berry as Ollie, and Amanda Daniels as Miss D. They embrace that energy and that sort of childish. I don't want to say childish as childish sort of manner. The sort of Jackanory style of telling things wonderfully well. But there's moments in their characters and therefore moments in them where they become they become fragile and they become human. There's a wonderful moment where Shawn Michael very sort of like contemplates what he's actually doing, and as a character and as an actor breaks away from that very exuberant, over the top, very flamboyant sort of children's storytelling style, and actually you actually see a sort of genuine scaredness in his face, which I thought was wonderful. Same with Gemma Whalen as Jill as well, when she actually has her initial breakdown and describing some of how she's feeling over a particular event. It's really powerful. So brilliant. And Amanda Daniels as Miss D, I love her. She's coming on as Miss D, kind of like sort of that sort of overly motherly swagger. I don't know if that makes any sense to me at the moment, let alone you hearing me say that. But she kind of swans on to the very forthcoming. But there's always something sinister that just brims just below the surface of her character. But I absolutely love her when she's doing her turn as Kay. It took me a while to actually think like. Well, very initially, not to me a while. Very initially, I thought like, is that the same person? I thought it has to be. There's only 3 people in this, and whereas she's this sort of sinister and charismatic Miss D. When she's Kay, she's so tender, and she needs to be at that point. It's absolutely brilliant. Go see this. Like seriously. I'd say it'd be a great introduction to Philip Ridley if you've never seen Philip Ridley before, but like I don't know, because